Let's recap what we've covered. Always get the correct coordinates for your location, and remember, there's only one tilt setting per zip code. Mount the dish in the best possible location. Make sure the mast is plumb and that you've invested in the right tools for the job. Whenever possible, allow an extra 10 degrees of unobstructed view on either side of the 101 and 119 degree satellites. And always be sure to use the correct hardware and tighten all the bolts after peaking the dish. Always check the signal quality at every receiver in the home. By taking the time to complete these simple steps and making an investment in the right equipment and tools, you'll be able to do your job better, faster, and easier. We hope you've benefited from this video, and we also hope you'll become an even better professional installer. For additional information on ODU placement or alignment, you can consult the manuals supplied by the manufacturer or your DirecTV Tech Tips.
With me today is Carlos Menendez, the Southern California installer, and Carlos is going to tell us a little bit about how you can increase customer satisfaction. Welcome, Carlos.
Thank you.
Wanted to ask you a couple of questions, if I could, about some of the successes that you've had. I understand that you've gotten some letters from customers that have been good letters, that have said they wanted you back.
Yes, you have.
That's wonderful. What do you attribute that to?
Well, one of the first things I do on any kind of call is I make sure to call the customer at least 15-20 minutes prior. I let them know what kind of van I'm going to have when I drive up. Let them know if I'm going to be late. I make sure I tell them, how long I'm going to be late, whenever possible. I knock on their door. One of the first things I do is take one step back, introduce myself, tell them hi, morning or afternoon. My name is Carlos. I'm with DirecTV, and I'm here to install your system. I make sure I let them know what I'm actually installing that day. So I go through the whole process and make sure I actually got the right gear that the work order says I do. And then I just do the walkthrough.
Do you find that your attitude and appearance has any impact at all on the customer when you get there?
Oh, absolutely. The first thing I notice is that they look at my badge, they make sure how I'm dressed, they want to see how my van looks, which is usually directly behind me. Very good, very good.
Now, when you go through the customer education process, let's say, for instance, you were going to go through a customer education process and you know that the person that's going to be the primary customer is not at home. Do you spend extra time with the customer, and what do you show them? Yeah, well, the first thing I do is I hand the customer, or the person that's there, the remote. I show them the very first thing how to turn the equipment on and off. To me, one of the important things is knowing what the guide is. I like writing down what the channel alignment is. I break it down to 100 blocks, so all the 100s being pay-per-views, 2s and 3s, basic cable networks, and so on and so forth. I write it down, or they write it down, however they prefer. And to me, very important is the locks and limits. I make sure that they fully understand what the locks and limits are, and because you never know, any kid can just come around and start looking at something they're not supposed to. Oh yeah, yeah, that's a big problem we've always had. Well, I certainly appreciate you sharing that with us. No problem. And thank you very much, and keep up the good work. Thank you. You know, organization is very important. And if we ask a lot of installers around the country, what do they do to make their job a little bit easier, we get some pretty unique ideas. Today I'm here with Jimmy Brown. And Jimmy, you're an installer here in Southern California, and you come up with a way to make your job a little bit easier, haven't you? Yes, sir. And what is that?
First thing I do is I make them a free call to all my customers. Let them know from 20 minutes away that I'll be arriving in 20 minutes. Right when I get to the customer house, before I hop on my van, I call the customer so I can make sure the customer comes out, so the customer can feel more comfortable, directly seeing me get out my van, right, before I, even knock on the door. So you actually establish a rapport with the customer before you ever even get to the house? Yes. Now, how important do you think your attitude and your appearance are when you get there? Actually, it's very important. Attitude, if you're having a bad day or whatnot, what you do is you don't treat all the customers the exact same way. If you had a bad day with the customer prior to the ones you're going to now, leave that back there where that is, bring a new attitude to this new customer. So now you found a way that you can reduce the number of trips you make to your truck, haven't you? Oh, yes. And how you do that? Good old faithful backpack. Is that right? Yes, sir. Could you show us what you got in there? And right here I have my crimpers, my strippers, my cutters, my needle noses, and pretty much all my wrenches. I keep my barrel connectors, my connection fittings in here. I also keep my tack nails, zip ties, silicones, leveler, even a marker. to mark.
Right. Well, you know, the advantage, I guess one of the advantages of this backpack is when you go in with a tool pouch and you've got those tools hanging off your side, you have a tendency to bump into things and bang things around. You don't do that with this, do you?
No, absolutely not.
And you don't have anything fall out because you can close it up.
Absolutely.
That's a great idea. That is a very good idea. Everything you need. So how many trips do you make up a ladder when you go up to do an install?
One.
That's great. That's the way to do it. To save you a little bit of time and save you a whole lot of effort.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Hey, thank you very much for being here today. We certainly appreciate it.
Thank you.
And we appreciate the work you do.
No